Don't complain about not having any money if you haven't made any changes to save money. Today in this video, I'm going to share with you my top 8 tips and tricks to help you save money in 2026. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Lori, and this is my channel, Ever After 50. I share here all things midlife. I am a full-time working mom. I have a small business, 2 adult children living in the home, married, and also have 2 cats. I'm in perimenopause, I have PCOS, and in the pre-retirement stage of life. If any of that resonates with you, I hope you'll stick around and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I think we can all admit that we want nice things. We want to travel. We want to go out to eat. We want to, buy that purse, those pair of shoes. But I think more and more people are realizing that frugality is very in fashion, and that saving money is more important than having a bunch of stuff that we don't need. So today I'm going to share with you 8 tips that I use here in our home to help you save money in 2026. These are things that we already implemented in our family a few years ago. Some new things also. And I'll just put a disclaimer out there that I am not perfect. We are not perfect with our spending. We do the best we can. I think everyone's just trying to do the best they can. But by implementing some small little changes, I think you will see a big difference in the dollar amount that's actually saved in your bank account rather than going out of the bank account. Number 1 is your coffee, and that you should be making your coffee at home. I know everyone loves to have the aesthetic and bougie, Starbucks and, whatever other coffees that are out there, but you will save a ton of money if you just buy yourself a coffee maker and make your coffee at home. I am here in Canada, and I've done a few numbers here for you, which I will share here as well. That basically, here in Canada, we have the 2 main coffee companies, Tim Hortons and Starbucks. And for Tim Hortons, it's about $2 per coffee. If you're getting one of those coffees per day, Starbucks is about 3 times as much as Tim Hortons. So again, here are the numbers, and do the math. But on top of the coffee, it's all the other little goodies that you buy while you're ordering your coffee. So I think just staying away from those coffee shops is the best way to save money. It's always a reminder for us because we kind of fall off the wagon with the coffee a lot, and then when I look through the bank account and I see the transactions, Tim Hortons, Starbucks, it's like, oh my gosh, this has to stop. So this year for Christmas, we bought a really nice coffee maker, and that's the mission. We've got 4 people in the home here, 2 adults and then 2 adult kids. No more buying coffee outside of the home. So we bought the takeaway cups. We'll make cold brew at home. Obviously, our warm coffee as well. And there will be no more buying coffee at any other coffee shop. Groceries. Now, this is a huge one. And for us, family of 4, I do know, but I'm not going to say how much we're spending on groceries a month. And actually, it was my son, my 17-year-old son, that pointed out to me. He said, Mom, you don't need to buy all of this stuff. You're buying way too much. You should only be buying what you need. And I was like, he's actually got a really good point. Because you just get there, you're grabbing everything you think, and you're not planning ahead. And that's the biggest thing. You need to plan ahead for what meals you plan to cook for the week. And you need to make your grocery list, because otherwise you go and you're throwing everything in the cart. My tip also is to buy non-perishable fruits. Now, they're all perishable, but I mean, when it's off season, and if they're not getting eaten relatively quick, like all of the berries, those things go bad within about 2 days. And I throw out so much fruit and vegetable in my home. And I said, that's enough. Make sure you're meal prepping. And by meal prepping, so you're also, you're doing your meal planning, but prepping will save you from buying a lot of unnecessary things. Also about groceries, do not buy bottled water. If your water at home is perfectly fine to drink that. Bring your travel jugs, drink your water from there. Do not waste money on bottled water. And then also eating leftovers. So that's another thing too, is that so much food gets thrown out when you're preparing food, and then no one eats the leftovers. So in our home, I've said, if there are leftovers in the fridge, I am not making a meal the next night. We will eat what's in the fridge, because again, so much waste, and food is so expensive, and no one can afford to be throwing things out. Tip number 3 is to not eat outside of the home. And a lot of us, I mean, we enjoy that social activity of going out to a restaurant, meeting up with friends, but make it something special. And for me personally, I prefer just to eat my food at home. I enjoy the food more. And, knowing what you're paying for groceries, and then when you go out to a restaurant and you see how overinflated the prices are, and then on top of that, a 20% tip, no, thank you. I'll eat at home. But, but again, like, make it for a special occasion. It doesn't have to be something, if you do it all the time, you don't really appreciate the time out. When you are going, it's just become, another restaurant out, nothing special. And also take out like Uber Eats and all of those door delivery places. That's a hard no. Don't be doing that either, because they're charging overinflated prices for the food, plus delivery fees, plus tip again. So it's just eat what you have at home, prepare food at home, plan ahead. And then, as far as, I think the meal prepping is really important, because I think a lot of people either grab takeout food or go eat out because they haven't planned for their dinners or their lunches. Just stop with the takeout food and stop eating out. Number 4 is books. So if you're a heavy reader and you enjoy, getting new books, I suggest get them from the library. Now, we love taking a trip to the local bookstore. We love that. We do. We look around, and I'm not going to say that we don't buy books. However, I only ever buy a book that I absolutely want to have as part of my collection, or if it's a series. But using the library is the cheapest way to get the books that you want. And also book exchanges. If you've got a group of friends, or maybe in your own community, there's a community group that where you exchange books. Make a list of all of your fixed expenses and your non-fixed expenses. And then what I do is I look at the fixed expenses to see, okay, even though they're fixed, what can I possibly change? And that would be, obviously your mortgage, your rent, your taxes, your insurance, your Wi-Fi, your phone. Like, some of those can be adjusted. And then what I would suggest is, going through those fixed expenses and looking to see, when the contracts expire, what are your best options? If there are, cheaper rates, shop around basically. And then, as far as your non-fixed expenses, make that list and then really hunker down on ways that you can save and even cut some of those things out. The 5th thing is clothing. You do not need all of those clothes. You don't need all of those shoes, and you don't need all of those bags. And I will admit that in my 20s and 30s, I loved buying, coordinating bags and shoes and all of that fun stuff. And I feel like in your 20s and 30s, that it is part of life. It's fun to experiment with your outfits. It's, you show your creativity. And for me now, I'm 54. I learned maybe, in my 40s actually, that it's really not necessary to have all that stuff. When you look around and you add up how much you've spent on all of those things, the clothing, the shoes, the purses, it's not necessary. And how many times are you going to change your purse and your clothes and so for me, I did lose some weight, and I'll share a video here. I lost 30 pounds. So I did have to go and buy some new clothes, but I'm very selective. I try to keep, just a certain number of bottoms and then just interchange shirts and then dresses and stuff like that. But, a good way to save money is by thrifting. And I think that's another method that's also become very popular, because obviously you're saving a ton of money, but I think people are looking for, some vintage items and stuff that, from the 80s and the 90s, and they have different styles. So that's a great place to go and try to find those pieces, and also to save a ton of money. Now, I didn't speak specifically about this in my list, but you can see here, I've got all my decorations, and I'm sure people are in the comments watching and judging, saying that I'm doing a video about saving money, but look at all of the stuff. Now, as far as decorating, I have a very strict policy around here. If anything comes into this home, something else is going out. And over the last 2 years, every season I have been purging. So when the new season comes out, and I like to decorate my home for all of the seasons. Sorry, not seasons, all of the holidays and the celebrations. So, something will be coming up here for Valentine's soon, and then Easter, and then Halloween and Christmas. And I'll share my Christmas video here of our decorations. But yes, so this is something that is important to me. I do enjoy decorating. So, and that's the thing. You want to spend your money on things that are important to you. And back to the decorations, like I said, when I do purchase something new, something else leaves. So I've been doing purging. And then for each holiday, this last 2 years, when I bring up the boxes, I go through everything again and purge. And I always take the stuff to my office to donate to people there, or I drop it off at like secondhand shops. My final tip to save you money in 2026 is to cut out your streaming services. So I've got a list here. I had to write it down because there's so many. I feel like many of us have multiple streaming services, and you don't watch half of what what you're paying for. And in our case, we have Prime because it comes with our membership. We have Disney and we have Netflix. I've got a list here. So this is in Canada. The cost for streaming services for the year. So Netflix is $227, Disney Plus $130, Amazon Prime $99, Apple TV $155, Crave $220, Spotify $152, YouTube Premium $167, PlayStation, TSN, Sportsnet, ESPN. There's so many of them. So when you add up the cost of all of these streaming services per year as well, I mean, I know a lot of people are, home a lot more now than ever before. And people that are working from home, they're not getting out as much. And the streaming is something that's important to them. But if you are recognizing that you're not using one of them more than the other, get rid of it.
My final tip is to not buy gym memberships. Many community centers have free walking tracks that you can use, or you can walk outside and use weights at home.
All of these little things, if you focus, and the whole family has to be on board. That's the other thing. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you made it to the very end. And I hope that my tips and strategies will help you save money in 2026. And if you have other tips that you and your family are doing, let me know in the comments. This helps everyone. And I do appreciate if you do leave a comment, let me know you're here, where you're from. And I hope that you'll watch some of the other videos that I've tagged. And until next time, bye for now.